Overcoming Stereotypes, Part 2 of 2. This is Two Blind Crew. Yeah! Two Blind Crew! Two Blind Crew!
Daddy, what's wrong with you?
How you doing? This is Two Blind Crew. I am Jeff Grillo, and this is Part 2 of Overcoming Stereotypes. Hope you are enjoying the program so far. We're going to jump right in where we left off last time. If you didn't catch Part 1, we'll put a link in the description. Make sure you go back and check it out. Let's go ahead and get back at it.
I don't think we mentioned that. You can't add?
You said ADD. What?
Oh.
What are we talking about?
Huh?
But, you know what? The stereotype when it comes to discrimination and job thing, I got to tell this story. And I've told you before, but one of the most amazing things was dealing with discrimination and the stereotypes associated with that. And I used to be one of these guys. I don't know if I lived in fantasy land, if I was sheltered, haven't always been blind to this degree. But, I grew up in a place that was mixed, all kind of ethnicities, all kinds of races. And I don't know. I've never been a person that was given to racism. I some of my greatest, memories are friends that were, black, that grew up in the same neighborhood, went to the same schools. We hung out with the same people. They went on, several of them, to serve our country valiantly in Afghanistan and elsewhere. And I even, and at least one of them, I think, became a state trooper, police officer or something. So, it's great people. I don't get the racism. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I've been tempted to think, people talk about racism all the time. They got to be misperceiving things or something in their mind. But then I had a rude awakening one day, and now I absolutely believe everything that everybody tells me about that. Because I guess until you actually, to use a blind thing, until you see it, making air quotes here, Greg.
Right.
Until you see it yourself, I guess you don't realize, oh my goodness, this is real, this is true. And I guess it's embarrassing to even say that. But I grew up, I wasn't exposed to this most of my life. But I go to a job interview, and it was for an anatomy physiology instructor at a massage therapy training thing. And I have done it for a couple of years. And I show up at the interview. I am looking good. My hair is combed. No baseball hat, which is rare for me. I got a suit on, nicely pressed. I got my briefcase with my resume and my white cane. And I go walking in, and I can see enough. I guess they just assume everyone's totally blind. They don't realize it's just 2% are in total darkness that are quote unquote blind or legally blind. But this person's like, "Can I help you?" at the desk, and they're giving me the stare down, like, "What in the world?" And I say, "Hey, my name's Jeff Grillo. I'm here for an interview with so and so." "She's not here." I'm like, "Oh no, I have an appointment. I'll wait if I need to." He says, "Hold on just one moment." I see him get up, take a few steps over to an office. He steps in out of sight. All of a sudden, he steps back out, and I see the lady looking, out of the thing. She looks at him and does this, shakes her head and waves me off. And holy mackerel. Why is that? She doesn't like guys with goatees and briefcases? No. Stereotypes. Blind people. Oh, he can't. We're going to have to accommodate him. He could be a liability. What if he gets hurt? What if? And it just goes on from there. And that was my first wake-up call, probably about 15, 16 at least years ago. That happened. That, oh my goodness, everything I've ever been told about this absolutely does happen. So it's my first time I'd ever witnessed it. But again, it's hurtful. I was angry. I cried. Not then. It was later on the ride home, thinking about how pathetic this is. Number one, that people are that, whatever that is, that they're that messed up in their thinking and their logic and their compassion and everything else, that she couldn't just sit there and interview me and then hire somebody else. She didn't have to give me a reason, but she could have given me the courtesy of an interview.
It's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
And like you said, you don't really, if you've not been a victim of it in any of the 100 different ways that it takes place, you really don't pay attention to it. Sometimes we do live with our heads covered up, and it better out of sight, out of mind. I don't want to have to deal with that, so just let everybody else deal with it. And but it's a big issue. It's a big issue in all walks of life, and in all in everything.
Right.
Not just handicaps, not just in race, but socially, economically. I mean, there's and in so many cases, I've known folks that have been handicapped. I've known folks that just don't have the money to hang out with the people that they like to hang out with. So it turns inside on you. It turns yourself. You begin to start believing that. So you find yourself sitting in the house more. And you find yourself getting depressed about it, and your self-worth goes down, and then you pretty much find yourself not wanting to try as hard, because what's the point? It's like a little circle of despair.
Right.
So you got to guard against those kind of things. I feel. I think an honest inventory every day of your feelings, what you're believing, what you're allowing yourself to be told, what you're telling yourself from what you've witnessed. So it's hard. It's really hard living today, and I guess it's always been. But your self-esteem, where your identity is in you. I think that's a really huge issue. And it's one of the topics that I know we could talk on and on about. But we need to start looking at tools on how to avoid these situations, because, like you said, it is a real thing. It's rotten, and there's really no place for it. People just tend to make people mad so they don't have to deal with it.
Right. So two ways of areas of overcoming stereotypes. Listen, if you're a person, and just because we've got I hate the word. I mean, I'm not politically correct. Handicapped, disabled, whatever people want to call me. I don't care. It's just whatever. People are like, oh, you're visually challenged, blind. Just call it blind, whatever you want to just, or legally. It was like, whatever. The point is, I can't see much, and it is what it is. So,
Jeff's not blind; he just can't see.
Exactly. I just play a blind guy on TV. I'm going motorcycle riding after this. I wish, but the reality is, even you and I we're not immune from being stereotypers and putting people.
No.
So it's something we all have to guard against, and something we all need to be aware of. And the first step to overcoming stereotypes is realize that if you're alive and you're breathing, you hold stereotypes, whether you act on them, whether you behave according to those beliefs, whether you vocalize them or brutalize people with it is another issue. But it's just recognizing that it's time for all of us to grow up a little in certain areas, because there's a lot of 12-year-olds and 48, 50, 60-year-old bodies that walk around every day acting like children, and they see someone like us, or they see someone in a wheelchair, or they see someone of a different race than them, and they automatically, I assume this, I assume this, I assume this, and they go down the checklist in their head, and they pigeonhole people in categories, and they miss out. Here's the thing. When we stereotype people, as employers, we miss out on potential great hires, great additions to the company, as ministry people, and I know this happens, and I hate it. And it doesn't happen in our congregation, thank God, because we've got folks like us at levels that are up there that are kind of being leaders, so we don't have it. But I've been in churches where there's discrimination against people like us, even from sharing and being useful. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me, but it's there. So from that side of it, we all need to grow up a little bit and learn to just be like Jesus a little more, and be accepting of everybody, and showing love towards people, and being at least open to giving people a chance to decide if they're putting themselves in a category or not.
Right.
And then secondly, is from the perspective of the person being stereotyped. how do you deal with it? How do you overcome it? How do you deal with the frustration, the sadness, the sense of hopelessness that can come sometimes? Because I felt pretty sad, pretty angry, pretty hopeless after that job interview.
Yeah, I would imagine. And I think something that I've learned, I was talking to a friend of mine last week, pretty much this very similar topic. And one of the main things that we both left with was a lot of these stereotypes, a lot of our attitudes, a lot of our addictive behavior to protect ourselves. We have to realize where we've come from, socioeconomically, what region of the country, wherever we live. If you've grown up and life's been pretty good to you, it's sometimes is easier to do okay. And if you've had a really hard time growing up, and for one reason or another, it makes it a lot harder. So you are a little more guarded. So I think we always have to keep in mind where people are coming from. What's going on in their lives? Are they healthy? Do they have health issues that make them feel bad? Do they struggle just to be able to buy groceries? And sometimes we can be very unconcerned, unsympathetic of things that we don't think about. If you're able to go to the store and get what you want, you don't really think about the folks sometimes that can't even go get bread. And that creates some divisions, I think. And I think it's very important for all of us to examine where we're at and where the people that we're in relation with. And if we can do that, I think that would be a starting point of being able to put some bridges back in. Understanding people, like you said, being compassionate. Right. And I think that's a good place to start.
Probably is. And again, apologies if you guys are hearing some very anxious guide dogs. We're probably going to wrap this up here soon, so we don't have.
You may not have a door left.
Yeah, we might have to take up a collection. But but seriously, I think for me personally, there's all kinds of coping mechanisms, and again, there's endless topics that can spring out from this. But it wouldn't be Two Blind Crew Christian Life Insight from Two Guys with Outside if we didn't at least include one scripture, not to make it a big Bible study, but Proverbs 23:7 says, loosely quoted, depending on the version you're looking at, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So what all of us need to kind of look at, whether you're a believer or you're not, whether you're disabled or you're not, is when it comes to stereotypes, is you've got to come to the place where you realize, hey, the only thing that's true about me when it comes to this sort of stuff is what I actually believe about me. You know what? Right now, I believe I'm a pretty decent guy. I'm a work in progress. I've got areas of life I need to improve, things that I could do better. And I got lists. Man, do I got lists.
Lots
I got goals.
Lists.
You got lists?
I've got more lists than I can read.
But the thing is, you know what? I know I'm a good person. I know my heart is right. I know, my motives. I know that the things that people think about me, worthless or useless or unemployable or a liability or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I know that's not true. That might be their perception, but that's their problem. I am worthy. I am lovable. I am loving. I am intelligent. I am accomplished. I am able. And if other people don't agree and they don't see it, that's okay. I'm at the point where I'm even done being mad at people and angry and frustrated. And I strongly encourage you, if you're watching this on YouTube or you're listening on the podcast or however else you get a hold of this, is really do some soul searching and convince yourself. You might have to work at it, but convince yourself that the only opinion that matters about you is your own. Yep. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir. I do.
Well, very good. Well, listen, I am thrilled that God kind of put it in our hearts to do this.
This is great.
We have fun. We act up. We misbehave a little sometimes. We're a little goofy. The dogs like to voice their opinions. And you know what? That's okay. I'm just thrilled if you're watching this or you're listening to this, if this is encouraging to you in any way, any form of an inspiration or helpful to you, or you think would be helpful to others, please do us the great honor. Subscribe to this podcast. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Like it. Share it. Help us get this out. Why? Because we want to be famous. We want to go viral. Here's the thing. If we go viral, the only thing that benefits that I get excited about that, the number one thing anyway, if we're being honest, is that means there's that many more people that you and I are able to impact. Because I decided a long time ago, and I said in one of my books, I forget which one, that I got angry at one point in my life dealing with this disease. And I said to myself, you know what? I am not going through all of this garbage, all of this struggle, all of this frustration for nothing. Somebody is going to get something out of this. And I'm not talking financially. I'm not talking any other way other than for me, finding purpose in my life has been greatly attached to the influence I can have over others in helping with their struggles. If I just keep it to myself and I fade to black one day and all my struggles are my own, what good is it? Maybe I grew, maybe I didn't. But if I can share with people, and Greg, I know you feel the same way, that if what we're going through, our suffering, somehow helps someone else to grow as well and become who they're supposed to be, then it's all worth it. Then
I grow by being able to help other folks. And, I don't really enjoy the things, look what he's doing over there. How's he doing that? But, hey, it's because it's got to be done, and I just learned new ways to do it. Right. I think we can have some podcasts on cooking with Greg and Jeff. He does a lot of great foods, and we can do house cleaning. We may go grocery shopping one day. Hopefully, we're going to go on vacation and take this thing on the road. So please keep checking back.
Blind Crew coming to a place near you. But you know what?
It's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope that some of the topics will be not just for blind or handicapped folks, but even through our struggles, I hope there's an area that, like we said earlier, everybody's got stuff. Right. And they're all pretty tightly related. Maybe they're all different, but I think that together we can learn to laugh about things and learn to celebrate what we do have. And it's all about being happy at this point.
Amen, brother.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for letting us get in here today.
Thank you for coming. And you know what? There's enough negativity and insanity in the world. And I think if ever there was a time for a program like this, why not now? Yeah. Why not now? We do a little piece in bringing back proper perspective and a little encouragement and uplifting. And hey, we make them laugh once in a while. That's okay.
That's the ticket. For that.
All right. Listen, I encourage you again, subscribe. And if you're on YouTube, comment. We want to hear from you. If you're negative with the stereotypes, I'm going to delete you. but let us let us know your feedback. Encourage us back. Let us know topics you want us to cover in the future. Be sure to stop by the website twoblindcrew.com. info@twoblindcrew.com. Get your email to us. And until next time, God bless.
Thanks for spending time with us at Two Blind Crew. On behalf of my daddy Jeff and Greg Greg McLaughlin, be sure to stop by our website, twoblindcrew.com. Follow us on Twitter at twoblindcrew. And like us on Facebook. See you next time. Can I have my money now? I'm serious. I want my money now. Mom!